Hey, gang, what do you say? What do you know? This is Keith DiPiazza coming right at you. Hey, I think I got a pretty cool video for y'all today. And um, we're going to talk about the Hammond B3 and a couple bands. There's two bands, the Doors and the Rascals. Okay, well, that's kind of like as far as east as west as far as material goes. But these two bands have one thing in common. The keyboard player played bass. All right, I don't know if you guys knew that or not. And and it's kind of cool. And I'm kind of going to talk about the comparison between the two. Now, you have in the Rascals, you have the same musician layout as the Doors have. You have a guitar player, you have a drummer, you have a keyboard player who plays bass, and a lead singer. All right. Doors, you have a keyboard player who plays bass, drummer, and a guitar player and a lead singer. All right. Now, I would say all in all, Ray Manzarek is the better keyboard player as far as leads go, and his bass lines were a little bit better too. But Ray wasn't singing lead, where Felix Cavalieri sang lead. So he's playing lead, playing bass, and singing. So that's a lot to do for one guy because I sing lead and I do a lot of stuff. Felix played the Awesome Beast, the Hammond B3, where Ray played the Farfisa organ using the Fender Rhodes keyboard bass. All right, I would say in all, the B3 had the better bass. It was bassier, and that's my opinion. I've always liked that type of keyboard bass better. But Ray had that I call it the stupid Farfisa sound, which became his trademark. You know, if you listen to that sound, you're going to instantly know the Doors. But growing up as a B3 guy, I learned to play the real thing. All right. So when I hear a Farfisa, that just sounds cheap and irritating to me. But, this very organ was in my living room ever since I was 6 years old. So naturally, I'm going to gravitate to this. And then on top of that, you have the Leslie, So Ray never used a Leslie. Now, he did on some recordings, and in the studio, you could actually see him playing the B3 with a Leslie. But on all the live stuff they did was basically that part piece with the keyboard bass. But both bands had the same arrangement. Now, material-wise, the Rascals were actually classified as blue-eyed soul. Different style of music, you know what I mean? And matter of fact, they were one of the few white artists that actually were recording on the Atlantic label. All right, where the Doors were more kind of punk. If you listen to some of their stuff, that's actually the beginnings of punk music. And where the Rascals were more happy, the Doors were more death oriented, Gloom and the Lizard King and all this psychedelic crap that I'm really not into. But and the Rascals were more, they were normal people, where the Doors were more out there, and their philosophies and all that stuff. Now, both bands were intelligent. The Doors, they actually read a lot, and they weren't dumbasses. Neither was the Rascals. John Densmore, the drummer for the Doors, is actually a fantastic drummer. But on the other side of the coin, going to the Rascals, they had Dino Danelli. This guy was one of the forefathers of Flash. I mean, he was spinning his sticks before anybody else caught on. And I seen a couple videos where he was actually playing like Keith Moon. Now, wonder who started it, Keith or Dino? Because that was back like in 65, 66. And I think the Who was out during that time. But I've seen a lot of things where Dino's playing like Keith Moon. He's like all over the place and precise. No, I think Dino looks cooler doing it, and but it was kind of never thought about the Rascals, because in their a lot of their newer videos and like their Broadway thing, Once Upon a Dream, they actually had a bass player. But during the early days, a lot of their shows, Felix played keyboard bass. And I thought that was kind of interesting because I think those are the only two bands that had a keyboard player that played keyboard bass. So if you guys know of any other ones, feel free to drop a line or, you know, no, you could say Lee Michaels, but Lee Michaels came about in the um, later 70s. I think Lee Michaels came about in, I don't know, what, 74, 75. And speaking of B3, let's see if this puppy, let's fire her up here. Ain't that a great song? Alright. And we'll kick on the out. Oh. Here she comes. Get some reverb in there. So, get back what I was talking about. Now, one of the things, you have your drawbars here. Now, what I like to do, I like to go to this preset because this makes you even with the bottom key. So if you actually get on to low and you hit that, it won't take you off, it won't bump you off your preset. So we'll hit that. And what you do to get a bass is you have your... Alright. Well, you bump off all these here. You bump them all down. And let's kick up the bass a little bit. Here we go. I got a vibration in there. I wonder where that is. I got something sitting on top of that, but we won't worry about that. All right, and that's basically how you get your bass on your B3, or if you use your pedals. And if, I don't have my foot pedals hooked up here, but that's basically how you get your bass. Now, this organ here, this B3, was my brother Don's. All right, he originally had it, and I don't know how he did it, but this actually is wired up where right now it's going through the Leslie. All right, it's all wired up just to go through the Leslie, but there is a 1/4-inch jack on the back of this. It says amp, and if you come out of that output when you're on this one preset, it will actually take you could take this bass, this preset, and play it through another amp. And my brother Don played it through in a custom, well, I think it was a 100 or 150 bass amp. It was one of those short puppies, had a 115 in it. It was, but anyway, he used to use that for playing keyboard bass. And, but a lot of fun then. Let's see, let's kick on a drum pattern here, let's see. Now, with the more modern keyboards, you could actually have a little bit more fun with it. You'd maybe use a synth bass. Basically, that's some fun, but I just kind of found it interesting that both bands had the same lineup, same keyboard bass thing, but two totally different sounds. And I just felt like freaking out. I haven't had my B3 on in a long time. I was doing a lot of remodeling down here, but I do have sounds like a grounding problem. And part of it, when I turn the reverb up, so there's something there. Oh, I got a wall-up pedal on this too. So, but anyway, I gotta pull her out. She hasn't been oiled in a year, so I'm gonna pull her out. Check out what grounding problem I got. And but I hope you guys enjoyed the video and the comparisons between the two things. I thought it was kind of cool, kind of interesting. But I'm an old fart, so anything interests me anymore. So, and oh, by the way, I found out Dino Danelli, the drummer for the Rascals, has died. Broke my heart. Because Dino with the Brigati and Cavalieri, those three guys were fellow Italians. And so with the last name of DiPiazza, I have to be bummed out because those were fellow Paisans. So, okay guys, catch you later. Hope you enjoyed the video. Click like, share.